What's poppin', fellow nerds? Today we have something a little different. I actually have a deck profile and a locals report, so let's get into it. So I decided to play Red Omnimon. I like dropping big dudes and I had all the cards for it, so this is what I took to my first locals. I'm going to go over the deck list, and then at the end I'll go over my rounds, how I finished, and then the things I would definitely change. But to start off, we have our 4 Gigi and Koromon. This is relatively standard for most Red Omni decks now, although I am considering potentially changing this egg lineup. This one gives you plus 1000 when you your Digimon has 4 or more Digivolution cards. So all of your Megas get plus 1000 on top of this, and this gives you plus 1000 if your opponent has 5 or more cards in their trash. And next we have our rookie lineup. So we have 4 copies of Monodramon. That is our 2-drop vanilla and free to Digivolve on top of your eggs. And then of course we're running the full 4 Agumon. Inheritable, your turn, Digimon gets plus 1000, 3-drop. Very good. This is probably going to be a staple for a long time in red decks. It's definitely at least a 3 of, and in my opinion a 4 of. Then for our non-vanillas, I did end up running 3 of the Memory Gainer Biomon. I don't know how I felt about this card. Like, your opponent tends not to want to block it and stuff because they don't want to set up your plays. So like sometimes you can poke for free security, but in my opinion it was kind of meh. I don't know if I'd play it again, but I'll get into that at the end of the video. And then for our last 2 rookies, so this is essentially another Agumon, except for it requires your opponent to have 5 or more cards in their trash to get to gain the 1000. So it's a little more for mid to late game. I thought playing more Agumon would be good, so I decided to put 2 of these in here. That is a total of 13 rookies. And if you're curious, I never had an issue seeing rookies. I think 13's fine. You can play 14 if you want, but I don't have an issue seeing rookies at 13. And on to our champions. We play for our vanilla. We have a 6-drop, 1/2 evolve Dark Tyrannomon. Very cheap evolve. Very cheap Digivolve. You're trying to turbo into Omnimon and your big dudes. So I mean, good card to play. The 6-drop kind of sucks since he's a vanilla, but you're pretty much never gonna just drop this dude from your hand. You're just gonna Digivolve on top of your rookie. And then of course, 4 blockers. You don't want to lose to Ricky Rush, which I expected. This is the first time I went to my locals and I didn't know what the meta was like there. I expected to see Ricky Rush a lot, just because like that's a relatively cheap deck to build, and I know that like limitations on supply have like caused people to play like cheaper budget variants and stuff. So yeah, I did play 4 full play set of these. And then for our last champion, we played 4 Greymon. This is an inheritable +1 security attack. I really enjoyed this card, although sometimes I did miss like maybe gaining 1000. The other Greymon, I think it's from the structure deck, gives you as an inheritable. Still very good. It makes your big dudes really threatening, swinging for 2 security, 2+ security. And that is 12 champions. Don't really have an issue seeing those. I like 12. And then on to our ultimate. For our vanillas, we have our full playset of Groundramon. Very cheap to Digivolve for a 5, but also very cheap to play from hand. Very nice to be able to just drop this to threaten a Mega next turn. Not a lot of damage, but that's not what you're dropping them for. You're dropping them to threaten Megas on your following turn. And then our other vanilla full playset of Lava Garudamon. Also very cheap to Digivolve. You're probably never dropping this for 7 from your hand because it doesn't do anything. Not bad DP. You're probably swinging for like 9 or 10 most of the time with all of your bumps and power. But yeah, you're mostly just Digivolving this guy. And then for our last champion, we played 2 Skull Greymon. So going into this, I thought this card was going to be better than it actually was. I didn't realize that on-play effects don't activate when you Digivolve. Like, you have to play it from your hand. I did find that out before the tournament began. Now that I know that, I really don't like dropping this thing for 7 just to delete a blocker, especially if you're playing against a blocker deck that has a card out that says their blockers can't be destroyed by card effects. So I'm no longer a fan of this card, FYI. That is a total of 10 ultimates. That is the one card besides maybe some of my megas that like I kind of want to play more ultimates, just because I feel like I don't see them as much as everything else, but I'm not sure about the ratios that I would play. On to our megas. We have 3 Phoenixmon, Relatively standard, very cheap to digivolve, vanilla, with 12,000 DP. You're swinging for big damage. If you have anything under him, he's probably gonna have at least +1 security. Very threatening and cheap to get on board. And then we have a Volcanic Dramon, +1 security attack, and then on play you can nuke your opponent's board of 4,000 or less. Like I said, I did expect to see Rookie Rush at my locals. However, it may have been there, but I did not get paired with it. I think it was round 1 that I nuked my opponent's board with this. I did put him to 10 memory when I dropped this, but I did clear his board out. Then you can threaten an Omnimon after you drop this. So like even if your opponent does like drop their whole hand after you nuke them, you can just Alt-Arrest them and just board wipe them again, which is pretty cool. Yeah, knowing that on play effects don't activate when you digivolve, I definitely will not play this as a 3 of in the future. And then for our last level 6 mega, we played 2 Blitz Greys. This was an awesome card when I saw it. I will definitely like to play more in the future. Having piercing on top of its come into play effect, trigger D-Digivolve 2 on one of your opponent's Digimon is awesome. You get to just say no to your opponent's big dude, and it gets around like effects that say can't be destroyed by card effects and stuff like that. Just a really great card for red. I borderline want to play 4, but I don't think I will just because of the high cost to digivolve into it. Having piercing on a 12,000 body when it's definitely going to have at least 13 or 14, if not more, DP with all of your pluses, and probably going to be swinging for like 2 or 3 security every time with piercing, which is, I mean, I can't say enough good things about this card. When I saw it, I'm fairly certain that every game that I saw this card I won, but I did not see it that much. So, and that is it for the level 6 megas. That is a total of 6 of them. I'm sorry, that is a total of 8 of them. And then on to our big dogs. Woof, woof. We played 3 Omnimon, regular. I played this, I think this is a relatively standard ratio, although I'm not sure how I feel about it. So we played 3 and 2 Alt-Arrest. I think Alt-Arrest is better just because like you get to D-Digivolve 1 on all of your opponent's Digimon, and this gets around effects that say can't be destroyed by card effects because it gets rid of that Digimon that says that, whereas Omnimon does not. So I think in the future moving forward, I might want to play 3 Alt-Arrests and 2 regular Omni, just because like I mean this card's Digivolve effect is just way better than the other one in my opinion. Although I did drop this against a black player with Diaboromon with several tokens out, so that was cool to just nuke that. But that is it for the Digimon. Obviously, we're playing 5 level 7 megas. And then last but certainly not least, I am playing 2 Tai Kamiyas. So I don't like getting memory choked, and playing 2 of this means I'll see it more often, and my opponent realizes they can't memory choke me. Also, on top of that, this makes your big stacks even more threatening because they all get +1 security, and these stack, obviously. So you can be swinging for 3 security on a vanilla mega, which is pretty crazy. And then if you have these out and a Blitz Greymon with piercing, like your opponent has, like they literally can't do anything. You're just gonna pierce and hit them for, if you don't have a Greymon underneath it, 3 security, and then you're swinging for lethal most likely the following turn. So I really like this card. I would want to try to fit more in here just so you see it in your security more often and you get to play it for free. I definitely will not drop this below 2 moving forward. But that is the deck list. Let's see. I played Blue Imperial Dramon round 1. I 2-0'd him. I played Craniumon Black, or Black Craniumon round 2 with Diaboromon and like a whole bunch of blockers and stuff. I think that deck's called Big Black Block. I 2-0'd him, although that match took a long time. Like each game took a long time because he kept setting up a whole bunch of blockers, and I had to wait to draw my cards to get rid of his blockers, like my Digimon. I think Craniumon keeps them from getting destroyed by card effects, and he kept having Craniumon out, so like I couldn't blow up his blockers with like Skull Greymon and regular Omnimon. So I had to like either Blitz Greymon, Alter S, or I had to just swing to the point where like I had to have so many dudes on the field that he couldn't block all of them and I could just swing for lethal. So that match took a long time, but I did 2-0 him. And round 3, I played against Green Sarismon. I really had no idea how to play against that deck. This is my first time playing against any real people at all. Like my first 3 rounds were the first time I played against an actual human person. Otherwise, I've just played on the tutorial app that Bandai came out with. And I had no idea how to play against that deck. Definitely wasn't a good matchup for me because I did not know how to play around Digizorption and Sarismon. And also, I just could not draw my good drop. I never drew Omnimon game 1 or game 3. Actually, I drew Omnimon game 3, but it was like 1 or 2 turns too late. I never saw Omnimon or Blitz in game 1. So I lost game 1. I drew Blitz and Alter S game 2 and just nuked his Sarismon and then hit him, and then I was swinging for lethal the following turn. Game 2 was like Babytown Frolics easy because I drew my good stuff. And then game 3, I didn't see Blitz or Alter S, and my regular Omnimon I drew like 1 or 2 turns too late, so I lost 1-2 round 3. It was only 3-round locals. We were just short of having enough for 4 rounds, and I actually bubbled top cut because I got paired down round 3 against somebody who'd already lost, so it caused my tiebreakers to be bad and I bubbled. So it wasn't a bad experience. I enjoyed playing for the first time. Everyone was super nice. Very nice local community I have, so I'm looking forward to going back there and maybe bring a better version of this deck. Now let's get into what I would change. Alright guys, so for what I would change, I would actually keep the baby lineup the same, but the rookies definitely get a big change. So to start off, 2 Biomon and 2 Monodramon. So these are literally the same card, just with a different name. They're both 2-drop, 0 Digivolve, 3000 DP Digimon, level 3s. The only reason I would want to cut 2 of these to play 2 of these is to play around regular Omnimon. So I didn't get Omnimon. I didn't play any decks that even ran him, but this is just a thought that I had, like, why wouldn't I do this, just so I don't, like, it doesn't make it easier for me to get Omnimon randomly if I'm trying to, like, rookie rush my opponent. So there's no reason not to do that, in my opinion. And then, obviously, we're still playing 4 Agus plus 1000, really good. And then we completely cut the memory gaining Biomon. I hate it. I don't like it. Just played a full playset of this, which is essentially another Agumon mid to late game, plus 1000 for 5 or more cards in your opponent's trash. Good. And that actually brings us down to 12 rookies. Might be kind of dangerous, but I didn't have an issue seeing them at 13, so I feel like cutting 1 is not a huge deal. And also, I have done some other things to make maybe playing a champion or something a little easier. So on to our champions. We have full playset of the Greymon from the structure deck. No. A full playset of the Greymon that has an inheritable plus 2000 DP on your turn. So a big issue I ran into is actually my dudes were not big enough, which is a weird thing for a Red Omni person to say, I think. So I really don't want to have that issue again. So this guy will definitely help me not have that issue, because my dudes will be huge if they're on top of him. Even if they're just level 5s, they should be big enough to run over pretty much anything. And then we are still running full playset of these. I think +1 security inheritable is way too good. This makes your dudes very dangerous. Also, just to go back to this, so this is a 4-drop, and the card I cut was this guy, which is our level 4 that we cut for this guy. So he's a 1 to a Digivolve, which is really cool, but he's a 6-drop. So in the event that we do not have a rookie, which could happen because we did cut our rookie count, this guy's just a 4-drop. So that's why another reason why we're also playing that Greymon. But yeah, man, Greymon's good, go figure. And then for our last champion, so we have just 3 Quadramon. I found that these kind of clogged my hand a lot, and like I don't want to use them to climb into something because I feel like you're kind of wasting your blocker. So I really think 4 is a little too much. Maybe I'll change my mind if I actually run into like a rookie rush opponent, but for now I think 3 is actually good. Like I don't ever want to see more than 1 of those in my hand. But that is 11 champions. And on to our ultimates. We are still running full playset of Groundramon, cheap Digivolve, and 5-drop ultimate, which threatens a Mega following turn, which could be your boy Blitz coming in. Bang, bang. Definitely not going to cut this. Very good card. And still running full playset of this. Cheap Digivolve can get real big real quick. He is a 7-drop, but we're probably going to do our best not to drop this from our hand for no reason. And we did cut Skull Greymon. I think that on-play effect is terrible in the matchups you actually need it for because they have a card that says that doesn't work. So I actually cut them for 2 Metal Greymons. So this guy, you're probably never actually going to swing with this guy unless like you just have a whole bunch of memory and like you know it's lethal. But he does have security attack +2, so he's swinging for at least 3 if you do swing with him, but his effect does say lose 5 memory when attacking, so like it's probably going to end your turn unless for some reason your opponent was forced to give you a bunch of memory. But that's not why we're playing him. We're playing him because he has an inheritable that gives you plus 3000 DP. He's only 3 to Digivolve into, and he's only an 8-drop, so he's only 1 more than Skull Greymon, which I would honestly rather put this on the field. This guy is threatening. Skull Greymon, once he comes out, if he even blows up a blocker, he's just there. He's just a dude. But this guy, like, he's going to swing for 3, and you know you can't give me more. You can't give me 5 memory because I can swing with this guy and then probably swing for lethal with something else. So definitely a card that I'm looking forward to drawing. But that is 10 ultimates. And onto our mega lineup. So we are still running 3 Phoenixmon. Very cheap to Digivolve into, 12,000 body, pretty big. And then we are running 2 Volcanic Dramon. I don't want to cut this card because it is still a very good effect. In situations where it's good, it's really good. Even if you're giving your opponent tons of memory, you're threatening an Alter-S or an Omnimon the following turn if they drop their whole hand. So I don't want to cut this card completely, and I don't want to play it as a 1-of because I don't like 1-ofs. I think you're just gambling at that point playing 1-ofs because, like, yeah, it's cool when you draw it, but, like, how often are you going to draw a 1-of in the situation that, like, calls for it? If you're curious about my deck building style, I don't play 1-ofs unless the card's so good that it's limited. But yeah, just 2 of him now. And you probably saw this coming, but we are playing 3 Blitz now. I want to see this card. This card is super good against so many different matchups. Digivolve 2, piercing. I'm swinging for lots of damage. Block me, I don't care. I'm gonna run over your dude and then hit you for like 3 security most likely. I kind of want to fit a full playset, but I think that might be a little much, and it'll probably end up clogging my hand sometimes. So if I was gonna play a full playset, I would cut a Phoenixmon for the 4th one, but I think that's a little excessive. I do love this card, but I don't love him enough to have him just clog my hands. But playing 3 ensures that I will most likely see it in any game that runs longer than like 5 turns. Also, he'll just be in my security and just bang bang, hit you for 12. We're running 8 level 6 megas. And then our level 7 mega lineup did not change. We're still running 3 and 2. I actually don't have a 3rd Alter-S right now. That may change in the near future. I still have 1.5 boxes to open, but I still don't know if I would want a 3rd Alter-S over a 3rd Omnimon, just because like his come into play effect is underwhelming compared to him, unless you're playing against like a Diaboromon deck or something where like it doesn't just nuke their whole board. But this guy does swing twice, and him swinging twice is really cool because he doesn't care if he gets blocked once. And also, like, because of your cards that like add security and stuff, he is probably going to hit you for like 2 to 4 security. And then if you have a blocker, he's going to hit you for like at least 2 security most likely in most situations. So yeah, I mean, and if you block, like, there's no way your blocker's bigger than this dude. He's going to be huge. He's 15k like normally, so most likely on one of my stacks he's going to be like 17 plus. He might even be over 20. So yeah, I don't know, but this guy can also make himself unblockable, so I don't know. It's kind of a toss-up. I'll probably have to playtest a little more before I really figure out what I like best, but don't be surprised in the future if I cut this to 2 and then play 3 Alter-S. And then for our tamers, we are still playing 2 ties. Like I said, I really like this card. Makes your big dudes even more threatening, and they stack, so if you have both of these out, it's +2 security on any of your megas. And not getting memory choked is really cool. I like seeing this early or in my security. Like I said, I kind of want to play more than 2, but I just can't find the room. Although I did find the room for another card. So we are playing 2 Gaia Force. I broke and decided that maybe it's not an awful card. I really didn't want to play it because yeah, it's cool if you see it in security, but like, giving your opponent a bunch of memory for doing something that Blitz Gray would probably take care of, or Alter S, or Omnimon. Yeah, I still don't know if I like this card, but I'm going to try it out at 2. But don't be surprised if I actually cut this card again and maybe just play 4 tie. But having this in your security is cool, and just if you just have it in your hand and they don't have a card that says it can't be destroyed by card effects, like, it is a good card to have just to answer stuff. Like if your opponent only has like 1 big stack and that's the only thing they have going on, and you just be like, no, get it out of here. But like, I just really prefer like a Blitz or an Omnimon in that situation. But we'll see how this goes. Yeah, guys, that is the deck. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this version of the deck, as well as the first version of the deck that we did end up changing into this version. And also, have you guys been to your locals? Like, how have you guys done? What decks are you bringing? Like, I'm curious about that as well. But I appreciate you guys stopping by. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you.